Yep, I just hit the go live button. I'm not showing us live on the channel yet, but there's always a 30-second delay. Oh, there we go.
Hi.
Cool. So we're ready.
Hey, we're at 6:59, so we had 7. We're still missing.
I just hit the go live button.
Huh?
Nothing.
Oh,
Go ahead.
we're missing Courtney. Did she
Just signed
say
on.
anything? Huh?
You're signing
She's
on.
in.
Just signed on.
Yes, okay.
Mhm.
And Helen, you'd still want me to run the meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm all ran out. It's just Monday.
Courtney, can you hear us? Don't think she's quite on yet. There we go.
What about Robin?
Robin's there.
I saw Robin.
Courtney, can you hear us? All right, good. She can hear us. Where is Robin?
See Robin?
She's there.
There she is. Yes. Good. Thank you.
Oh,
right.
there's Robin.
I haven't got her on my screen, but that doesn't mean anything.
I saw her. She's on.
Yeah, I
she's
see
here.
her now too.
I'm
Okay, I see Courtney. Okay, so we have a full crew. Then we'll go ahead and open the
Full
meeting.
house.
Okay,
All right, I'll do roll call.
well, yes,
So Helen Douglas Taylor,
Present.
John Knowles,
present.
Ruth Benner,
Present.
Mary Kay O'Neill,
I'm here.
Robin Drew,
Here.
Becky Miller,
Present.
Courtney Olmsted,
Present.
and Fran Ventimiglia.
Present.
And that's the full house.
Hey, thank you all for being here tonight. Seeing no public. Scott, do we have any public on watching us?
Checking now.
Okay, so I'll go
Nope,
ahead.
and no messages.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and close the public portion. And for the minutes, the acceptance of the minutes for the November 22nd meeting.
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay.
Aye.
Bring the director's report in.
Okay, you all have a copy in front of you. I have a few things for updates. The biggest update from what I already have in the text is that we have gotten the ECF connectivity grant for $16,702. That should cover the hotspots and Chromebooks that we're adding to our circulating collection. So, and we're allowed to buy and then get reimbursed. So that's what we're doing. We're buying and we're going to get reimbursed on that grant. And I think that's the last grant we currently have outstanding. Another thing that I thought you might like, or I wanted to share with you, is that one of the employees, Julie Brown, did a thank you card. She wanted to share with the board, so I thought I would just do that since you can't all come in and look at it. Here's the cover. And then she says, dear library board, thank you very much for the holiday gift of cash. I brought the book, The 1619 Project, the new origin story for a book club, along with another book. Again, thank you. So. Another thing is to give you guys an update on what's going on with the MLC as a whole regarding COVID closures. You've got our information. We're at enhanced curbside right now, as you saw in the board report. But just give you an idea of what everyone else in the consortium is doing. Us, Brentwood, and Valley Park are all in curbside mode. U City, Maplewood, Valley Park, and Rock Hill are all in limited hours and lockdown in other ways, but not full curbside. And then there are 3 that haven't pulled back really the past few weeks, and that's Kirkwood, Webster Groves, and Richmond Heights. So that gives you an idea of where everything stands with that. And any questions?
Good. Anybody else?
I
Okay,
have a
thank you.
question, Scott. This is
Mhm.
Courtney.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes, I can.
Do we have sort of like a set standard for when we will go back to having things open again? Do we know, like, is there some sort of cutoff, or like, what are we aiming for?
We have a 4-stage plan that is, we trigger going up and down a stage according to what the numbers are doing with COVID infections and hospitalizations. And when the numbers go down, that's when we come back up another stage. That's combined with me having meetings every week with the full-time staff and whatever part-time staff we can pull into it at the time on Thursday afternoons to talk about where we're at. Do we need to adjust anything? That kind of stuff. And that's usually where we talk about what stage we're going to be into. But we're led by that 4-stage plan.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Okay, treasurer's report.
That's me. I did have a chance to review the QuickBooks and the bank reconciliations, and everything looks good.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Old business, I believe we don't have any at the moment.
Nope.
New business, we don't have any listed, but there's a couple items I'd like to bring up. One was something about banned books at the Kirkwood School
Kirkwood.
District.
Kirkwood School District they're having a meeting tonight of their school board where they're going to consider a list of 21 books that are being challenged. They're being challenged. There's a number of groups that are kind of like organizing their challenges across the country. Kirkwood is one of the places that are targeted for that. And they've got a list of 21 items they want to ban. The biggest ones would be The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison and The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, but there's 21 books on the list. And they're debating that tonight.
Okay. Personally, I'd like to see that the library had all of those books in its collection, but I'd like to have input from all of the trustees and make sure that we have a majority of people on board. Is there any input from the rest of the trustees?
To have all 21 books in stock?
That we'd have them.
Do we
That
have
they'd
them?
be-
We have any of those?
I haven't gone down the list, but we have most of them. I can tell just from looking down the list, we have most of them.
John, why
I
do you
think
see
the
a
concern-
need?
Sorry?
I was going to ask John, why does he see a need for us to have the 21? Just curious.
In one way is a form of protest. I think this is it's like, I believe that nothing really should be banned.
So I'm gonna piggyback on that. I cannot believe. Oh, anyway, definitely The Bluest Eye.
Mhm.
I read it when I was a high school senior. It's one of my favorite.
Yep.
I have it in about every form of, so if the library doesn't have it, I can make sure they have a copy. That's the only one that threw me. When I saw The Bluest Eye was at the top of the list, I couldn't believe it.
There are a lot of really worthy books on that list.
It's just scary. I mean, why they wouldn't want, I mean, I can imagine you say, well, I don't want my child to read it, and your child didn't have to.
Mhm.
But as a Black girl, that was one of the best reads that I had growing up. And I was older when I read it, and I was an avid and am an avid reader. But when I read it, it was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this is actually being written down. I'd never heard of it before. And I had a teacher to share it with me. So the thing that scares me, that it could be forbidden for other brown and white children, really, but definitely brown children should be able to read books that reflect their experience, for sure, in any form that exists.
I
That
agree.
ties into the library ethics behind this is that as a library, we respect the parents' authority to determine what their kids read. And that means that we are not going to do that for them, that they respect their ability to do it on their own. And as a librarian, when we're buying for the collection, we have to make sure that the entire community is served. And so we're going to buy things that this group needs and that group needs and this other person needs to make sure all needs are met. And then it's up to individual parents to decide whether or not they want to exclude certain titles. So,
I agree.
of course, Lewis Eye, yeah, and Handmaid's Tale, and a lot of other things, left, right, and center, whatever. We want to make sure that there's a diversity of opinion and diversity of experience, and that everyone finds themselves in the books that they read.
So John, your original motion was that Scott looks at the list, see what we don't have, and see if we can get that in those missing books in stock. Is that what you're?
Yes. And I'll even buy one of them if it needs be, just to make sure that they're there.
So
'Cause, I mean,
I'm with you, John. I'll donate if whatever, I'll make sure they're there. So yes. I
Because
agree.
Does it need to be a motion, or you want me to just go to my?
I don't think it needs to be a
Look down the
motion. I
list?
think this is more advisory,
Yeah,
unless somebody thinks that we need to have a motion. So it's official that the Ferguson Public Library is going to make sure that these 21 books that are banned by that are being discussed about being banned by the Kirkwood School District are in stock or available for our patrons. I don't know if I said that correctly. But if we do make a motion, it would be my battery running low.
Is there anyone who opposes to that? Any further discussion that needs to be had? Did we lose John? Is he frozen? No?
sounds like he might be. Let me go into the next room and check on him.
Yeah, he looks like he's frozen.
I'll be right back.
I don't think it needs to be a motion. Do you all?
No, I just think we need to make sure that we have them all, but I don't think it needs to be a motion. But it's okay with me if somebody else wants it to be. I don't.
Yeah, I made sure to plug that thing in, so I think must have a battery problem. Go ahead and shut that door if you don't mind.
It sounds like
Okay.
the broad range of content is already library policy, so it doesn't sound like we need a further motion to make sure we
I
have. certain-
agree. I agree.
John's joining in with me.
Hi, guys.
His laptop
Hey,
battery
you're
died.
back?
My computer wanted to shut me off. It didn't like listening to me. So I guess, do we have any problems?
No,
with,
no.
No
The
problem.
consensus was we didn't need to have a motion.
Good. And then the other thing is, a former trustee of ours, Jeff Apple, passed away last week. I think it was a week ago Sunday.
Mhm.
And we would like to go ahead and make a donation to his cause in the name of the Board of Trustees at the library. Is there any problems with everybody on that?
Specifically, there's a, in lieu of flowers, donate to this cause kind of call thing that the family wants. We have come to this once before, whenever Kathy's husband died, Robert. And he had asked that in lieu of flowers to donate to the Village of Blue Rose. Because Village of Blue Rose is a not-for-profit, and the board really wanted to move forward with it, they voted to do so, so it'll be official record. And we did so. I think that's the same ask now, is that the board wants to vote to officially give to Blessed Teresa of Calcutta, which is also a nonprofit, or not-for-profit, something, whatever the status is. of
So
the church.
basically, the motion is, are we authorizing Scott in the name of the Board of Trustees to donate $100 to Jeff Apple's family in lieu of flowers.
I can tell you what the exact wording was last time. Make a memorial contribution of $100 in lieu of flowers to Blessed Teresa of Calcutta in honor of Jeff Apple, a longtime officer of the library board. That would be the wording if we want the copy.
Yeah.
From last time.
I believe that their request was a bit more specific than Blessed Teresa of Calcutta. They in their request
It was to make a difference.
to make a
Campaign.
difference campaign, which is directly to the school as opposed to the parish, but they were specific about that fund in their obituary.
Okay. I would like, if we're authorizing this, I would bring the check to Carol tomorrow and I'll make sure that they put it into the Make a Difference campaign.
Right.
But do we have a motion?
You make the motion, I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. So we're looking at now, because that's pretty much it. Does anybody else have anything for general?
Councilwoman Burrow, is she on with us, Tony?
She is.
Yes, ma'am. Well, she would be next.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine. Comments from the council representative. Tony?
Oh, I had one other thing real quick.
Oh,
This is
yes,
Courtney.
Courtney.
I just had a question for Scott. I don't know what the normal procedure is for making suggestions or comments to the library in general. I wanted to say two things. One, my daughter and I did the winter reading program, and we absolutely loved the mugs that you guys gave out. They
were
are
great.
phenomenal. I have used mine every day since I got it.
Mhm.
The other thing was, I was wondering, I noticed that in your director's report that it looks like our craft kits are getting picked up pretty regularly, and it looks like they're pretty much always all going away.
Mhm.
I wondered if it would be an option, and I don't know if there's any copyright stuff or anything, but if it would be an option to put copies of the craft directions on the library website, so that people could either revisit those or make them, so maybe they can't get the supplies from the library, but some of the stuff are supplies that we could get at home, and to have either PDFs or Word documents available on the library, or even just on a web page, so that people could access those and continue to make them outside of the time period that they're available.
Got it. I'll take that to Amy. She does make the directions available once the kits run out. Shouldn't be hard to put them on the website as well.
Okay, thanks. That way, especially with the curbside service, people aren't coming in just to get the directions. It kind of just gives us one more avenue for that. I actually did have a third thing I wanted to say. Sorry. I read an article yesterday that was talking about basically that as a society, we are putting too much pressure and expectations on our local libraries and our local librarians, with expecting them to do more than really what they are trained to do or called to do as librarians. And I just wanted to kind of throw it out there. I can look the link up and send it to everybody. I didn't think to do that yesterday when I read it, but if you guys would be interested. But it was kind of a really, it just made me stop and think about, the things that I would like to see the library do and whether or not those are fair to ask the library to do as a community organization versus things like asking the city to do or the rec center or something like that. So it was just a really good article talking about some of the pressures that have been put on librarians, particularly in the last couple of years with the pandemic, and the expectations that have been made for them in terms of passing out masks and all these additional things that we are expecting them to do sort of as a community service center that they really aren't set up to do. And it just made me think that I want to make sure that we are taking good care of our librarians and our staff and not pushing you guys beyond reasonable expectations within your jobs.
So this has been for a couple of years a major topic of conversation in the library world. Yeah, whenever we shut down the mental health institutions, and then when we shut down a shelter or something like that, or whatever, then we get people that spend their days in the library instead of at a facility that can better handle whatever their needs are. We have to keep Narcan on hand in case someone ODs. We have to.
We got tests, did they?
Yeah.
Or UPS.
Right. The tester for staff, though, we're not going. That's in case some staff person cannot get access to a test or doesn't have the money to get a test. We bought a couple of over-the-counter tests to keep handy for those staff members that can't do it, because we want them to be able to be tested and determine if they're okay to come back to work pretty quick. It's in our interest. But yeah, there's all kinds of things that libraries, it's kind of like a slow mission creep that happens. And part of what I do as a director is I try to guard against that mission creep, which is not always easy because the need is there. And the more the need is there, the more pressure there is to try and meet it. So yeah, as other government institutions crumble, for want of a better word, the ones that are left pick up the pieces. And that has been the thing in libraries. We have social workers, not here obviously, but big systems will have social workers on staff. We'll have experts in homelessness on staff. They will have medical personnel on call, that kind of stuff. It's goes all just because we have to kind of pick up those pieces.
I just want to make sure that
I try to push against that as much as I can.
Right. I want to make sure that we as a board do not put undue pressure on you, as we come up with ideas that we feel would be beneficial to the community. 'Cause there's a million things we can think of that would be great for the library to do, but we need to keep in mind, what the actual purpose and goal of the library is,
right,
and what other organizations could serve some of those purposes within our community. So I just want to make sure we don't overtax you guys.
Good. Yeah, and put expertise on the job, not people who are trying to cobble it together as best they can.
Well, I think education feels the brunt of that too. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't get messages that I've been in the classroom with someone who's exposed to COVID. So,
yeah,
you just try to the best of your ability to play creative dodgeball, right? and that's, classrooms, we're not social distance, and lunchrooms are not social distance, and students don't always want to pull their mask. So I think society has just overall in the public service arena, just the toll has fallen on us.
Yep.
Including hospitals and
teachers and hospitals, nurses.
Yes.
They're getting the worst of it by far.
So I just think it's like doing your due diligence to the best you can.
Yeah. The article recently was probably in response to there are now some of the bigger systems are now offering COVID tests, offering vaccinations, and helping to schedule time with if someone is identified as having COVID, they can come in and schedule something at the library, which is making library employees scared because, okay, so when you feel really sick, come to the library, get a test, and schedule with your doctor. And the library employees are like, hi. So that's why it's exactly a hot topic right now, because of the increased risk from COVID and just that libraries are picking up some of those pieces.
Courtney, can you send that article to all of us, please? Thank you.
I assume John will be back. Yeah, he's coming back.
Okay.
Okay, Tony, you're next, or you're up, but I have one question for you real quick to comment on.
Yes, sir.
Darcy said that there's some Biden bucks for COVID that's sloshing around in the city. The libraries, because of forms and stuff, have been doing free copies and free faxes. is there any way that the library can maybe be reimbursed for this public service that we've done with this COVID money that's come from the federal government? Because what I understand, excuse me, from what I understand is kind of like Darcy said they wanted to play with it. But they didn't know what was truly expenses that were caused by COVID. Whereas we have experienced expenses from COVID because of copying, faxing, helping people out with renting assistance and stuff like that. Am I close to that?
Yeah, we know exactly how much we expected to get from copies and faxes and didn't get once we made them free.
Yeah, but that's part of what I wanted to ask you about before you have your comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will tell you that there is no limit or no specific thing that cannot be asked for. It's an ask. And one of the meetings that we were having to let the city know that the money was available, I personally think it's a grand idea. And if you want, Scott, I will present that idea tomorrow. Tomorrow, we will have the city manager's report on everybody that has put forth their request. I think that if we have expended money at the library level, that we should be reimbursed for that. Because when you consider this stimulus money that restaurants and all other kind of entities were getting money for when they put in for the PPP, they got that money back. And let me be clear. Scott, did you apply for PPP money?
No,
Okay, then
we did some grants that are through organizations that are using PPP money, but they're getting the money and we're getting
right.
that ETC grant, I think, is tied to PPP.
I think that you should apply for it. For the first step is that I will submit the name tomorrow. If you want, Scott, you and I can talk in the morning or later tonight. It's up to you. And I will submit that because you are 501(c)(3), and you're not 501(c)(3). So let me ask you this. Do we have any entity inside of the library that is 501? It's not that you have to be that, but that's one area that I know that is going to be probably able to receive some type of funds. But if you just want reimbursement for money that you have used because of the COVID and the pandemic, I can submit it on that ground.
We are not 501(c)(3). I don't think the Flyers have gotten their 501(c)(3) back in place. So what we are is 170A1 government entity. And so, we're like everyone, like any other government entity, the money that goes for the public good.
Good. And then that's perfectly fine. I will submit that tomorrow.
Okay.
And I don't know what time it is. Got to be submitted if you want to listen in. It will be on the city manager's report because I'm meeting with him at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And this is the conversation that he and I are going to be talking about. So good question. Right on time.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate this.
Yes, sir. Am I up now?
Yes.
I would like to applaud this group of people for taking a stance tonight on banning of books. I think it's an atrocity to ban anything that is in print. So I just tip my hat to you all. And even for just considering it and bringing it up. So thank you very much. Congratulations on the ECF grant. Congratulations, job well done on that one. Scott, I know you met with city manager Eric. Did you get what you needed?
Yeah, we got the maps that we need from Public Works and started a conversation for long-term cooperation. So we had a good meeting and we can move on from there.
Wonderful. And so what I'm expecting is that you will have intermittent meetings no matter whether you got business or not. Is that right? So just to stay in touch. I'm sorry.
That's my expectations that I'll meet with
Okay,
them.
beautiful. That's what he and I talked about. Okay, very good. I don't know if this is a president question or maybe a Becky question. I want to talk about the vacancy on the board. And I know, Douglas, that you had sent an email last time we talked to the mayor, but the email was actually supposed to go to the city clerk. And Becky, that would have been your position. So did either one of you get some resolve on, because you know what we found out was that due to the charter, that the library couldn't just take somebody off, because last year we wrote in some ordinance documentation about how anybody can be removed from a board or commission. So Becky, did you get an opportunity to speak with Octavia on that?
Yeah, she informed me of that. And I forwarded that information on to Scott. He needs to get with someone because that is not the way that the library board is written. The
Right.
boards
Laws.
at Ferguson are different than the library board.
Right, and also the bylaws, Scott, that I noticed that you have is not in line with what we have. But it could be simply because of last year when we made some changes to boards and commissions. So in the meantime, Scott, what do you see coming up about, because I want to make this announcement tomorrow about the vacancy. I did not make it last time because I wasn't sure about if you had an opportunity, any one of the three of you, to speak with Octavia. So where are we with that?
Well, what I heard
I spoke
from
oh, go ahead.
Octavia is that Evelyn has resigned.
Yeah, she had a conversation with her. She gave her a call and let her know that.
So there is a vacancy now.
Wonderful. Okay, because if she didn't resign, then we have to go through this whole rigmarole. So you want me to make that announcement tomorrow that there is a vacancy?
And I did talk emailed directly Mayor Jones, and she's aware that there's a vacancy, but I haven't heard anything back from her.
Okay, I think that what we were all waiting for was to find out if Green was gonna resign or if we would have to put a letter to her. So since she has resigned, then there is a vacancy and I can make that known tomorrow. We good?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
there'll be a letter with some clarifying stuff about who exactly can remove someone from the board.
Right, and that goes directly to the clerk because that has ordinance to deal with it, and she has to get that over to the attorney. So if we could get that over to Octavia, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we need back from Eric? Because tomorrow, if we want it on his report for tomorrow, I have to have it before 12 o'clock because I'll be meeting with him at 1 o'clock.
Nothing I can think of.
Okay.
Right. Well, this would be information. I don't know if you'd want to hear all that. What I probably ought to get to you is an idea of what, if the board is okay with us asking for reimbursement of faxes and copies, then I can give you what we would have had this year, what our prediction was for faxes and copies before tomorrow.
I have no problem with Scott doing that. Does anybody else?
Are we talking about, how large of a number are we talking about? Because I thought, go ahead.
10,000, I think, somewhere out there.
How much?
10,000, I want to say. I haven't looked at it. It's on the list on the half year point.
And this is all the results of copying due to COVID?
Well, we made copying and faxing free because of COVID.
Right.
And that amount is, let's see.
While Scott is looking for that, I would just want to say, I would venture to say that if the library is out of any money, and this money will be given out to folks that apply for it, there is no reason why I can see why we wouldn't apply for it.
Right, it'd be like a grant. As far as that goes, an organization that is allowed to distribute money to libraries would distribute money to libraries. It'd be a question of, are we taking something that we think would be better placed elsewhere? So far this year, we're 7,000 that we did not get that we would have, and our prediction for the whole year was around 14,000. for the fiscal year.
Now, Scott, what I could do for you, I could get you a copy of all the requests or suggestions that have been made.
Mhm.
And once you see that list, I think you would agree with me that the library should be on that list as well.
Not hearing any objection, I'm fine with putting the library on the list, and then, it won't be tomorrow that you pin down exactly who gets what, right?
Right. I won't need that tomorrow. All I will need tomorrow is to be able to register it, because that's going to be the last opportunity. Because
Then,
you can even, Scott, if you wanted me to, after I put the name on there, if you wanted to pull out, I could do that as well.
right,
before
that's what I was
we
gonna
submit
say. Go ahead and put us on there at 14K
Okay.
and distribute, give me that list. I will share with the board. And if
Okay.
any of the board members say, whoa, then we'll talk about it and pull that.
Okay.
Scott, if you were asked to verify that that these copies were a COVID-related expense, how difficult is it going to be to do that? Because depending on which entity is doing that, I have heard that they can be pretty specific about demonstrating that it's a COVID expense. And I think it's going to be hard unless you've asked everybody who came in, are we doing this for COVID? Are we not? To verify that these were COVID related copies.
There was no requirement that the copies be COVID related to not be charged. We did it on our end to say that the pressure's on everybody, and a lot of people are out of jobs and people have had losses. We don't want to stop and have a conversation with everyone about whether or not they've lost. And so we're just going to make no
I
change.
understand why we did that and how we did it, but I'm saying if we ask to be reimbursed, saying it was a COVID related expense, will we be able to verify that?
That's all I would be.
So I think, Scott, I think you could.
Can I make
you
a
could
statement?
Mark, well, you could put it from the standpoint of preventing people from having additional interactions with the librarians
Yeah.
and touching the copiers and touching the money and touching everything else, like just the decreasing the spread of germs and the whole environment associated
yes.
with the copying. I think,
Mhm.
based on that, it's reasonable to make it free just so you don't have patrons touching equipment and interacting with the librarians as much. At least, it seems to me like that would be logical.
Let me just make a statement. When it comes down to verification, that type of thing, and all the millions of dollars that was given out for the stimulus and all that, and the rigidness of it all, I'm gonna just give you one example. For anybody that got $50,000, there were 5 questions asked. Not one of those questions asked for documentation, not one. Anybody that got more than $100,000, there were 6 questions asked. Not one of those questions was, because just like what Courtney just said, the realm of why it was done, I believe, and I've seen many of them, and friend, I don't know where you got your information, and in some cases, I'm pretty sure they want some detailed documentation, but in many of those cases, that is not what they were looking for. They give you a blanket, and in the case of a library where we are supplying the needs of the community, I would venture to say you would not have to label every one of those copies, whether it was or whether it wasn't. I would venture to say, just from what I've seen and know.
And my experience has been with individuals who have been getting rental assistance,
Oh,
and they
okay.
have been quite specific and pretty detailed on establishing how their loss of income was related to COVID and other information related to that. So it could be different, for governmental groups or other groups than it is for the private individual.
And yes, it is. And that is true. It is different. That money does have to be accounted for, and you have to give the proof of the reason why when you're doing it for human services. I know that from every day, but for the companies, they're not doing it.
In any case, ethically, I feel fine with this, just because we did make that motion we did make that change because of COVID. I'm also fine with keeping that change after COVID is over.
But there's some money out there for us to be reimbursed. Why not go for it?
And I'm pretty
I don't
sure.
know, I'm on the fence
this.
with it. So what I heard you say is that you were gonna have Councilwoman Burrow put us on the list, and then you were gonna bring that information back to the board with
Yes.
clarification before it actually became factual. Is that what I heard?
And I will tell you this, Douglas,
Yep.
that just because your name isn't on the list is not going to get you picked because of your name. You're going to have to go through, everybody on that list is not going to have to go through a certain criterion for why they're on the list. So,
Correct.
and so they're not just going to hand off some money. Oh, it's only 15.
Correct. I mean, like, I'm on the fence ethically about, is it a need? That's me personally,
Okay.
but,
All right.
okay. So, but I'm saying tomorrow you're just going to say that the library,
Right.
right? And then Scott, you're going to get the detailed information of what that really entails, and then we're going to have a discussion, right?
Yep. Yeah, we can have
Okay.
that discussion by email, and we can,
Okay.
I will be have antenna up hard for anyone who has an ethical problem with.
Mhm. Yeah. I just think we were blessed immensely with monies, right? And I just think you get blessed to be a blessing. That's just me, but my own moral compass.
It's a fact. Genesis 12:3 says, I will bless those who bless you. So there you have it.
Okay, so we got a plan for that conversation to happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are we through, Tony?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Can I make one quick announcement?
Sure.
I'd like to invite people on Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Proud is hosting a Zoom presentation on critical race theory. If you're interested, you can go to Proud's website. It's proud-ferguson.org. And on our events page will be the link to the Zoom. So it's critical race theory, Wednesday night, 6 o'clock. And you're all invited, and I hope people will participate. Thank you.
I don't know if you saw that on the city website that it shows that this meeting tonight started at 6. And so I will have Octavia to correct that tomorrow.
Yeah, please. It's been 7 for as long as I've known it. All right.
Okay, so do we have a second on adjourning?
I
Second.
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
No, any opposed? Thank you, everybody, for being here. I hope you had a good holiday. I see we all look well. And have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you.
Thank
Be
you all.
safe out there, everybody.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye.
Night.